We got you now. All we need is camera. Boom!
Okay.
Look, we did
We
it.
did it. Sorry about that, everybody.
No, can I tell you that literally every time, it doesn't matter. It happens every time something like that
Yeah.
happens.
Okay. I'm just
It's
not.
never smooth. So don't feel like that. Like everybody's used to it. They're like, we just come back on, just go back
All
to it.
right.
So, hey, hi, I'm Deb. Lovely to meet
Hi.
you.
Nice to meet
And hey
you.
everyone, I'm Deb from Queerstrology. So I do astrology without the gender binary. That's my little thing. Also,
Okay.
using real research and actual facts in astrology, because a lot of people call it a pseudoscience, right? But really, it's our particle entanglements with the rest of our solar system, right? So at the time you're born, that's a rip in all these different molecules, if you will, right? And then this is how we're mixed with those molecules. So that's why when Jupiter's in a certain place, it affects us. It affects our Jupiter parts. We're all made of the same stuff, right? The
Yeah.
sun affects the seasons, right? The moon affects the water tides. So if that stuff is happening, then it's definitely going to be happening to us as people. So what we're looking at right here behind me is Bridget's natal chart. Okay, so you can see that this round chart right here, all of us have all 12 of these signs in our chart. That represents the personality. It's like what you think of. And Bridget's an Aquarius sun. Okay, you can see that right here. But let me just read off her big three for you, so you all can be like, "What's it? Wait, let's just do it." So Aquarius Sun, all right, and she is a Taurus rising, which is over here, and we have the Leo Moon. Now, what's interesting about the fact that you are an Aquarius Sun and a Leo Moon? You are not born on a full moon. Okay, most
Okay.
of the time that happens, but you can see they're not directly across. If your moon was more here, you'd be on a full moon.
Okay.
Kyle, which is opposite from you, your partner who is opposite from you is a Leo sun with an Aquarius moon and was born on a full moon because they line up that way. That doesn't make them more special or anything. In
I'm
fact,
a little jealous, but it's okay.
I know you have other things that they don't have. You
Okay.
have in your chart,
Hear about
okay?
this.
So when we're looking at this again, these are the personalities, right?
Hmm.
And then when we look at these houses in here, they're numbered 1 through 12. They go from like that and go counterclockwise. Those represent a part of your life. So like the playing field of your life where something happens. And each of these points, they're just bringing a focus, okay? So they bring a focus and they'll have the personality of the sign they're under and affect the part of your life that they're sitting in, right?
Okay.
That's just kind of like a mini rundown so you understand what I'm saying. Otherwise, it sounds like blah, 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 like Charlie Brown, okay?
Yeah.
Now, do you even know who Charlie Brown is? You're so young. Okay, so
I know what that you're talking about.
sorry about that. And I just want to say right now that you are going through your no, you just finished it. You just
Oh,
finished your Saturn return while you were filming,
wow. Okay.
right? So, Saturn
Mhm.
return, for those of you who don't know, it's every 28 or so years in your life where Saturn, you can see here is Bridget's Saturn right here, which is in Pisces, returns back around to Pisces in your case, okay? So, whatever your Saturn happens to be in, that's your Saturn return. So, for about 2.5 years or so, you had this clearing out of things. Okay. So like Kyle had theirs right before you did.
Okay.
So there's a lot of growing up that's done during that. It eliminates certain things from your life. So it helps you kind of see things more clearly. And in fact, I think we saw that on the show a little bit with you and what you were saying about the concept of marriage and things like that. Because for you in like this day of age, it's like, what's the point? It was like made up by people at some point for their own personal gains or so they could trade horses or cows or whatever they were doing, right? And that's not going to tell people that I love somebody. I don't need that to tell people that I love somebody because we're in a different time frame now, right?
Right.
And we kind of saw a lot of that from you, but we'll explain why in a moment because that's a lot of Aquarius energy. You can see most of your placements are up here.
Oh, yeah.
There's a few stellium, which I'll explain what that means when we get there. So first, let's just start here, okay? This is where we start when we're looking at a chart overall, because this is where your rising sign is. You can see where that ASC is. That stands
Mhm.
for ascendant or your rising sign, and it represents these personalities out here. They're constellations, okay, in the sky. And it's the back, those are the constellations that are the backdrop to the path that the planets go across. So that's why we have those particular ones, right? So in here we can see that Taurus was the constellation that was rising the moment that you were born. So what that says is this is your first impression. So how people first see you and also how you first approach things. All right. So people see you as a hard worker. They're not really sure what you do necessarily, but you work hard and then you spoil yourself. You like to do that. That's how you feel. And you expect other people to be able to do that for themselves as well. Um, and how you first approach something that's new for you is you want to see how secure it is, what kind of value you can get from it before you jump in to anything,
Okay.
right? And what it's actually ruling in your chart, what part of your life it's ruling, is the part of self. Okay. So the first house is self. So this just means that you want to be a very secure individual that has, like, I get the things done that need to get done, but at the same time, I get to have my bubble baths and my snacks, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're kind of, right? That's your impression. You're like,
Mhm.
I just want to get it done. Let's do it, right? That being said, when we look right here, this is the second house, this little sliver section right there. And the lead line of the second house hits the sign of Gemini right there. Okay. I know it's hard to see, so I'm trying to say it out for you too, but that's Gemini right there. And Gemini, that as a sign, it's an air sign. The reason why I'm saying that is because I'm going to remind everyone, including you, that Aquarius is an air sign. Okay. I know that seems weird because it's Aquarius, but it's the water bearer, not a water sign. So, air signs, hey, welcome to my team. So, air signs in general, they're about intelligence. That's their baseline. They like to communicate in different ways, things like that. Gemini's job for its air sign is expression, right? So, they're very expressive with their communication and how they think. They're external in that. And when it comes to the second house, this is your house of value. So you really value people that have interesting stories or have had a fun time in life and have something to share that you can find value in, right? Because you're like, oh, I want to be able to have something or have fun at something, but I want it to be valuable. I want it to be worth it in the
Right.
end. Um, so that's what that indicates for you right here. Now, when we go to the third house, which is this one right here, okay, the third house is the house of communication, and it is ruled by Cancer, okay? So Cancer is the, it's a water sign, but it is the master of emotion, okay? So that also means it could be a manipulator as well as having really deep emotional capacity. So when it comes to your communication, you're emotionally connected to it. So if somebody's pissed you off when you go to write them back, you're going to give them what they gave you. That's kind of the feeling that you have. Or you're going to be really, really sweet. And it's kind of a manipulation tactic. No hate, folks, because we've all learned how to manipulate certain things in order to live in our life. That's how people do it. That's how humans work, right? It doesn't have to be for bad. It can be for good. So, but you could sometimes be like, if somebody's being rude to you or whatever, the way you come back at them is with something sweet or kind or, oh, I understand that you had a rough childhood. It's okay. Like you'll just try to like be like, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't need to, I you're fine. I don't need your stuff. You have this emotional capacity so you can hear things from people that a lot of other people can't handle.
Mm.
So, like people who are upset about something that's going on in their life, you're really good at being able to kind of listen. And you don't have to give advice unless they ask for it. But you have the capacity to listen to their emotional turmoil and be okay, not make them feel like they should feel bad for telling you because now they've made you feel a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a pretty powerful placement to have within your communication. So then we go over here to, we actually, oh, sorry, I forgot. We have a placement in your third house, but it's under the sign of Leo.
Okay.
Okay. So since your partner is a Leo, right? So is mine. My main partner is also Leo.
Okay.
What to know about that sign in general is that they are known for their ego, but it's actually more about adoration. Okay. So the ego part is if you hurt their ego, they will never forget that happened. They'll forgive you. Like you can hang out with them still, but they know that you did that. It will never leave their mind. And if they need it, they have it. So when it comes to the adoration part, it's like you want to be noticed for doing something
Right.
that is, like good or for others, or that you've actually put something together that's really creative, right? So for you, your moon is there. So the moon in that third house still gives us that emotional attachment to how you communicate. Now it's saying that your emotions can actually initiate communication for you, meaning something will make you upset. Nobody has to start it. It will make you upset and you'll decide to either communicate about it somehow or, get the message out there. And you want people to be thankful that you did that. You want them to notice that you took on the emotional capacity and the emotional damage that you could receive from others in order to help somebody else. You want to be noted for that. You want adoration from it, right? Like, look how sweet I was to you and I helped and everything's better,
Always nice to
uh,
hear.
but where your Leo energy is really going to come out is with the next placement. But right here in the fourth house, okay, the fourth house is your house of home, okay? So your domestic life. And it's ruled by Leo, which indicates you want adoration at home, right?
Okay.
You want to be noticed for doing stuff at home or like rehanging the pictures or like moving the furniture around. You're like, isn't it so much better now? Even though it was really good before.
I love to rearrange the fridge.
Yeah. And the reason why I say that is especially when it comes to like creativity, you and I don't know this for sure because I don't know you and Kyle's tastes per se, right? But Kyle may be more like modern, linear, and you're maybe more boho feeling in some ways.
Okay.
So you kind of mix those two things together, and you want to be noted for including that in your design. Listen,
Okay.
I included some of your modern things, okay? But
Yeah.
Mars is your dominant energy, what you want to be in control of, and your drive. So you are driven for adoration at home.
Okay.
So, you know, so when like Kyle leaves to go do things, you probably like to do stuff. So when Kyle gets back, you're like, see what I did?
That's true. I
Oh,
did hang everything in our apartment. I'm the handier one of the two
that
of us.
makes sense. That totally makes sense. So then when we go to the fifth house now, which is this one, okay? So your fifth house is actually ruled by Virgo. So Virgo is the perfectionist sign, right? They're a little hard on themselves even. Um, and the fifth house is your creativity and pleasure. So what it could indicate for you is I mean, I don't know exactly what you do for sure, but I know it's something artistic, right? And so for you, it's about the details. Things have to be in a certain order. They have to be categorized. They have to, whatever it is that you need to do before you can proceed into your creativity and pleasure, right? Because you want it to be as perfect as possible. So you want to set yourself up for that. That's what Virgo wants to do.
Okay.
Do we have everything we need to be creative? Do we, that sort of thing. So you know how I was talking about Kyle making a list of things? You're like, what list? This would be your area. So it
Okay.
comes with creativity. So if you're like getting ready to start something cool or something that's pleasureful, even like if it's a sexual adventure, if you will, you're like, do we have all the things that we need,
Yeah.
that are necessary for such thing? Before you even start, you don't want to get started and then you don't have something you have that you need, right?
Yeah. That's how I end up spending a lot of money on hobbies.
Yeah, that could be a thing. Besides the fact that you're an Aquarius, yeah. That's definitely air sign energy. But speaking of air signs, if we go here to your sixth house, it's actually ruled by Libra. Okay, so Libra, another air sign, but this one's about balancing intelligence. Okay, so they want everything to be fair. They're like, okay, but did we hear from Bill and Tammy or just Tammy? Like you want to make sure you have all the information. And this is your house of your daily activities, your routines. and also your acts of service. Okay. So you're looking for fairness when it comes to that. You want it to be a little push pull. You're like, I'll do the things I need to do, and hopefully the other person does the things that they need to do. And then our stuff's done for the day. Like, you may even sit down and split it up real quick. Like, what do you think's fair? You do this and I'll do this. Let's go do it. You know? And that, I'm just using that as an example, but that would go for anything that causes you to feel like you need to be of service to someone, taking care of them when somebody's sick, things like that. You just want to make sure it's fair, right? Um, and then we have Scorpio takes up a big part of that house. And the reason why I want to mention that is because Scorpio is very work oriented as well. I actually kind of call them a Capricorn light, if you will. Capricorns are very work, CEO energy. But Scorpios have emotion behind that. They have a little investigative kind of thing when it comes to whatever they're doing, right? The things with Scorpio is that they don't really trust you. That whole thing of like, trust somebody until they give you a reason not to. Not the case in Scorpio placements, okay? And it is ruling your seventh house of relationships.
Okay.
So when it comes to your different connections, and it's not just romantic, but it's all different kinds of long-term relationships. So like work, family, friends, all of that is included in that. But the fact that it is ruling your seventh house indicates that you are emotionally investigating your relationships and you need somebody to be truthful with you all the time. Even if it hurts your feelings, you would rather them tell you now and it hurt your feelings and they're honest than you find out later and you want to destroy them. That's the other option, It's like, look, don't lie to me or I will destroy you. That's your two options. When it comes to your kind of connections and the people you want to be around, you're also very good at having a gut instinct when somebody's not the best person to be around. Okay?
Yeah.
Kyle says true. So, all right. Now we're getting into some more placements. Now we're getting into the hot part of the chart here. So what's interesting here is Pluto is here, right? And so is Jupiter, but they're both under the sign of Sagittarius. That being said, Pluto is a generational planet. Okay. So most all of your cast basically has all the generational planets in Capricorn and Sagittarius. You all have those because they take 8 or more years to go through a single sign. So since y'all are so close in age this season, I didn't even include that when I was doing your charts and stuff because it would just be redundant. But for you, and in your case, yours is 0 degrees of Sagittarius. Okay. So that being said, what does that mean? That's a critical degree in astrology. Each of these signs are 30 degrees. They start at 0 and they end at 29. Okay. So a critical degree of 0 is new beginnings. All right. Now, Pluto itself is the planet of transformation and it's in the house of relationships. So you are literally looking for experiences because Sagittarius is about experience, right? And education and understanding philosophy, even spirituality. So having your Pluto there means the more experiences you have, the more transformation will happen for you. And it actually can come with other relationships. Now, again, not just romantic, but like your friends will teach you something or your family member or whatever. And you want to learn directly from the source with Sagittarius energy. Okay. You want to be there to experience it yourself or talk to somebody who has directly experienced it. All right.
Yeah.
So, that being said, knowing that Sagittarius is that kind of energy, its ruler is Jupiter, and Jupiter is in this house as well. So, this means that you expand as a person through your different connections, the different connections that you make. So, and you enjoy those connections maybe a little more. The ones that you seek can give you experience, can educate you, can help you adjust philosophies or understandings of different things in the world. You really would enjoy that. And it makes you feel better, helps you to expand who you feel like you are as a person. You're like, wow, I learned something really cool today, right?
Yeah.
So you have that energy that, again, in its native in its native sign gives it a little more boost to that. So you know how Kyle gets the checks in the mail that just happen to happen.
Yeah.
Uh, for you, it's you meet the most interesting kinds of people, and then end up like in some interesting. Like you probably have a friend that's an Australian rock star or something that you met one time somewhere. That is
Yeah.
probably the case because again, Sagittarians like experiences,
Yes,
right?
I I don't know where I'm a rock star from, but yeah, I meet a lot of crazy
You
people.
know what yeah, I'm just, and you probably love travel as well because again, that adds to your experiences. Especially with someone else though. You want to travel with another person and once, you feel like experiencing something alone is fine, but it's so much better when you can like talk and communicate and go over it with somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So, that being said, Sagittarius also rules your eighth house, which is right here. Okay. So, your eighth house, it's the house of transformation, literally, but also rebirth, kind of the occult and things like that. So, you're probably into anything that's kind of sounds interesting in the occult world, tarot or astrology or all of that. You might not dive into it, but you find it interesting because it's just different kinds of experiences that people have. So for you, when it comes to actually wanting to transform, again, it's you've gone somewhere, experienced something, and it has literally changed you. Okay. So now, when it comes to being reborn, knowing this knowledge, that just helps you to grow. It's like shedding your skin. This house is like a shed, a skin shedding house. So, and you do that through your experiences. Now, it's not just that because Capricorn is also in this house and it has a placement there, which is your Venus. Okay. So Venus is your surrendering energy, your bottom energy, if you will. But Capricorn bottom, that doesn't sound right. There are a few of them out there. Okay. It does happen, I guess. But that kind of energy indicates that you might be bottoming on occasion. But if you do, you are explaining what needs to be done.
Okay.
You're the director of what's happening. Not because anybody needs it, just because you want to make sure that everything is being taken care of as efficiently and as effectively as possible.
I see. Okay.
That's Capricorn energy, okay?
Okay.
So, having it as Venus, you're surrendering energy. You need somebody to come in with, like, no, no, I know what I'm doing, and then you can allow yourself to surrender a little bit more, and that can help with your rebirth too. You don't have to be in control and in charge of everything.
Okay.
Okay, you can allow when somebody steps up and shows you that they can boss that situation. You don't have to help them. You're like, okay, surrender. I can surrender to that. So good luck, Kyle. So you can do it. You can do it. Okay, so we go into the ninth house now. Okay, so Capricorn is the ruler of the ninth house, which I've got to make sure I'm drawing it right here. Is this one? Okay, so the ninth house is your house of travel, experiences, philosophies, and education. All right, and so you have several here. In fact, you have three placements in this house. Okay, and two of them are in Capricorn. So that means that you have a Capricorn stellium. What's a stellium? It's when you have three or more points in the same sign or in the same house. Okay. And you have a few of them you have three, and they're all coming up right here. Okay. So Capricorn's the first one, and that includes the Venus from the eighth house, and then the Neptune and the Uranus. Okay. So that's three placements in Capricorn. That means you have even more energy drawn towards wanting to be efficient and effective, right? Getting to your goals, achievements, things like that. Now, when we go into the ninth house, you have a ninth house stellium, but it's split between those two placements of Capricorn and one of Aquarius. So that means that we're bringing more concentration into experiences. Like you just like to experience things. Like that's the common thing that keeps coming up, right? Is
Yeah.
like you want to go on adventures, you want to like do all the adventures. Let's have fun. Let's do fun things. So that being said, let's get back to those two generational planets again. So here's Neptune, another one of those three. So we have that Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. Those are the generational ones, right? So Neptune is your intuition, also your dreams. So you dream big. You dream of having achievements from traveling and educating yourself in order to be able to educate others, kind of like being able to understand other things so you can pass it along, right? So
Yeah.
you can again share your experiences or tell that story to people. And in fact, you have Uranus here, which is rebellion and change. So you really want to use that ability to be able to be the boss of something, because Capricorn energy, right? Being really efficient and effective, but you want to do it differently than other people. You don't want to do it typically how everybody else thinks it should be done, right? You're like, you don't have to do it that way. You can be different and have fun and still get results that you want. Things like that, right? That being said, the third point in this house is Mercury. Okay. So Mercury is your communication. So in your case, it's in Aquarius. So now we're in Aquarius, all right, which is your sun sign as well. But the Mercury sign being your communication and under Aquarius means that you're very altruistic in the ways that you communicate. So you want to include as many people as possible. And what you're communicating, you want it to be valuable or important to them. And because it's not going to be necessarily what they're used to hearing. Again, very unique and different style to communicating, but it works. It works for you because you figured out how to make it work. It's literally in your ninth house of experience. So the more you've experienced, the more you know how to communicate a certain way to certain kinds of people. You're very good at reading the crowd, would be the term, right?
Yeah.
And sarcasm is definitely a part of that, for the record. I don't know, if anybody's seen any of Bridget's TikTok videos, there's a little
Just a
tiny bit
little.
of sarcasm in some of them, just a little. uh, okay, now we go to the 10th house here. Here's the 10th house. There's your MC, okay? It's right on the cusp of that 10th house right there. MC stands for medium coli, or top of the sky. So it's your point of achievement. All right. And so for you, again, it's an Aquarius. So for you, you're going to want to seek out different opportunities to help the world, not just yourself. Okay. Aquarians are very external thinkers. They want to include um, anybody they can. They don't want anybody to be excluded. Okay. And that's where that uniqueness comes from, because they tend to care more about everybody. And that's not really common anymore, unfortunately, especially, so that comes off as very unique and different, because you tend to be like, no, I want everybody, like, we can all reach this goal together, let's all do it together, include them and bring them on board, whereas some people would be very selfish about their achievements. That's not your case. Okay. And in the 10th house, we also have the sun, your ego, your true self. All right. So this is your weirdy self, right? Aquarians are weird.
Yeah.
This is the deal, though. You just gotta learn to accept the fact that you're weird, right? And some people don't get it, and that's their problem. So, because Aquarians are the island of misfit toys, is what I like to call them. Because if you look at the island of misfit toys, they're not all the same toy with the same unique thing. They're all different toys that have their own unique issues, right? But they're all together as a group because they're different. That's Aquarius, right? So you can see and accept other people for being different or not traditional in some way, shape, or form. And you can support that. And you're like, yeah, I like that. It feeds my ego. It makes me feel better that other people are getting to experience this with me. So
Yeah.
it makes you feel better as a person because it feeds your ego. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. So now we go right here to the 11th house, okay? And the 11th house is ruled by Pisces, okay? So Pisces is the oldest and wisest of the zodiac signs. And it is very concentrated on your dreams, ethereal thoughts, a lot of different interesting imagination, okay? And the 11th house itself is your social house. So it's kind of the groups you want to be a part of, like any social groups you want to be a part of, or how you interact socially. And for you, it's all intuitive. Okay. So when it comes to like what social things you should do, you kind of go with your gut, whichever one you feel like, oh, that seems fun. I'm going to try that. Now, that being said, it's whichever ones also you feel will not restrict, because this is Saturn right here, will not restrict that intuition. So you purposely will want to be able to find a place that will give you the results, because Saturn's also results, from being able to see the unseen when it comes to social situations. Again, you're very good at reading the crowd, right? And you have a good gut instinct from different kinds of connections because of that Scorpio. This is helping that even more by giving you intuition in social groups. So if you're ever in a group and then sometimes you get like this gut instinct of like, oh, I don't like this, listen to it. And you'll get better and better at listening to it. A lot of us have gifts, but we feel weird like being like, what the heck? Like when something pops into our head, we're like, that means nothing. I don't know what that is. But at the same time, the more you realize it and listen to it, just speak it, because you never know who the message is for and what kind of talents you have within it. And socially speaking, you're that person. So you should definitely get a black tourmaline for yourself,
Okay.
just so you know, because that right there in that social house, when you go out, you need the black tourmaline with you. All
Okay.
right,
Okay.
because you're the intuitive dream maker out there socially. Now, when we go here to your 12th house, it is ruled by Aries. Okay, so Aries is the youngest of the zodiac signs. It's youthful energy. It's like, let's go, let's do it right now, right? So when it comes to how you interpret the world of the unseen, right, your intuition or the things that you dream about, you're like, let's do it now. Let's get to it. I want to make it happen right now, you know? And if that doesn't work, you just move on to the next style and try that. So Aries tends to do what I like to call a shotgun approach to things. They're just kind of whatever works. They're not a sniper, okay? They're not like figuring out what's going to work and then launching. They're like playing with things, because if they don't, they'll regret it, right? I want to try this to see if that's what I want to do. I want to try this. That's their energy, because they're the initiators of passion. So they want to try to find something for you to be passionate about. That comes into your hobbies as well, because now you're like, oh, well, now I would like to do this, this, and this. And you can see it in your head, in your mind's eye, because it's the 12th house. You can see it coming to fruition. You just got to do it. Okay. And stick with it for longer than a week and a half.
That's the hard part.
I understand. I get it. My partner is a Gemini rising, even though she's a Leo sun. So
Okay.
there's quite a few hobbies. Like right next to me right now, there's two sitting on this table, hobbies. Uh, so, uh, so yeah. So yeah, that's your chart basically. And oh, that's right. I could have done these because put these up here, it would have been easier. I made these on purpose and then I forgot to use them so we could see it close. But here's that crazy part of your chart that we were talking about with all those stelliums. And I forgot to talk about your Aquarius stellium that you also have. So that brings more energy to the uniqueness that you have in your life, and that you seek, and your altruistic outlook. So all that stuff being said, any questions?
Wow.
Um,
That's a lot to think about. Yeah. Is that our compatibility or what is?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's your synastry chart, because I know you were asking about it during
Yeah.
piles. You're like, so are we compatible or what?
Yeah.
Um, and actually, I did this thing on it too. And you guys got 3 out of 5 stars, which is really pretty good. Okay.
Really?
And astrology is nothing to be like, you have to or you can't. It's not anything like that. But based on some of your aspects, which are these crazy lines going through the middle here, that's your rating I gave you. And that's because there's certain things that you guys really get along well in. And then other things that you may not agree on, but it's different lanes. So it's okay because you're not stepping on each other's toes.
Got it.
That can also lead to not having any sort of fight ever.
Right.
You're just you kind of dance with each other sometimes, dance around it. And most of the time that can be okay, because it's just you both understand that that's what's happening, you're fine. But if you don't realize that you're dancing around it, that's when you can run into issues. And it seems to me like the two of you are really starting to get it done. And this show actually, I feel like, helped both of you with that a lot.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're kind of in that situation where you're like, this is a chance to do this where I can actually talk with somebody else who's in a similar situation and get an outside perspective. It helps you open back up a little bit more.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah. So, do you have any questions about your chart though, or this chart or anything?
Are stelliums, do they mean anything in particular or just a lot of that energy of that sign or
Yeah, it's just a lot of energy,
okay.
either of the sign or of the house. So if it's the part of your life that it has the stellium in it, like for you, the ninth house, then it focuses on experiences and travel and things like that. But if it's in Capricorn, it's going to concentrate on efficiency and effectiveness. You see,
Okay.
so if it's the sign, it pushes more focus towards the sign. If it's a house stellium, it pushes more focus towards that part of your life, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You're like,
Yeah.
not really, but
No,
uh,
I am
okay,
gathering.
okay.
I'm learning a lot of things.
I do have your full chart with even the aspects up here, just so we can
Okay.
kind of look at them. But a couple other things I wanted to talk to you about. And I told Kyle about her Juno as well. So your Juno is actually Sagittarius. So it's in Sagittarius. It's like right here-ish, I think, like right at the edge. And it's not on this screen, but in general, it's an asteroid that means long-term love and relationships, right? And so for Sagittarius, what this means, and you can tell me if this resonates with you at all, but in relationships, what you're seeking is active understanding. Okay. And when it comes to your needs are freedom. You need freedom, right? You don't want to feel like you're locked down in any way, shape, or form. Not that you don't want to be loyal or committed, but you don't want to feel locked
Right.
down, right? Um, in conflict, you tend to come off as a know-it-all a little bit. That's because Sagittarius energy only talks about what they know, but that's beside the point. Um, that's me. I have a lot of Sag, so I'm trying to defend it there. At worst, in relationships, you become disconnected, and at best, you're very spiritual. Like it's like a religion to you. Your relationship. Now, interestingly, it's in the eighth house, which is also where Kyle's was. Okay. Now, Kyle's was in Virgo, though. So from her relationship's more about practicality, things like that, not freedom, if you will. But having it in the eighth house, it indicates that you're seeking somebody who's going to help you with your transformation. So both of you are growing and learning from each other. And that's why your compatibility is good, because literally you're opposite sun and moon signs, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes that can be crazy, but sometimes it can be really good because that balance comes off there automatically. They're
Yeah.
literally opposite signs.
Yeah.
So, like, this is more about the adoration, and this one's more about everyone else. Self, everyone else. You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
those can play off of each other. Whereas you're thinking about it when it comes to your true ego and self, you're like, what about everybody else? But then emotionally speaking, you're like, but how am I feeling
Right.
about it? Right. And Kyle's like, well, how is everybody feel about me? and then and then is like, well, how does the world feel about it? It's like the adoration and the worldly outlook switch there in that case. But it also it says that you're attracted to mystery and intensity.
Yeah.
So this is the point when I was saying to Kyle, like that's the seventh house, and then hearing this stuff, that the polyamory thing came up, and that's only because again, it's saying that it's not that you don't want to have a partner. It
Right.
just wants you just need freedom or to feel free in your relationship. It doesn't even have to be polyamory. That's
Right.
just what's a label for something that people can understand, right?
Right.
Pretty soon we'll have labels for any of that shit
Yeah.
anyway. It'll just be you're in a relationship with people, person, whatever. Uh,
Right.
so yeah, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and then out of curiosity, I wanted to see what your North Node was because uh, something you were talking about in the show, and shoot, I forgot what it was, but the North Node indicates your destiny. Okay, so the direction of your destiny. And for you, it's in Scorpio. So it's down here in the sixth house in Scorpio. So how you do your daily activities and routines is where it's involved in, but it's about an intense destiny. So you may find like a lot of the transformations that happen, because it's very common in your chart, they can take a lot out of you sometimes, right? It doesn't mean you have the emotional capacity for it, but your destiny is to be able to find a root of stability in it. Okay?
Okay.
Because that's where it's rooted for you. Your south node is in Taurus right here. So that's where your roots came from, very secure and valued roots. So trust that. And now your Scorpio is looking to fulfill its intense destiny. You see what
Okay.
I mean? It's like, I've got the roots. I can be grounded if I need to be. Now let's go find it. Let's go investigate and figure it out. So there's that too. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, if anybody else has any questions for Bridget or astrology questions, that's fine. Also, yes, I do readings in general. You can book a reading with me if you go to my page and then go to the link for my link tree. Bridget, what are you doing? What are you up to? Where can people find you? What would you like them? Where would you like them to harass you, basically?
Yeah. I'm mostly on TikTok. Instagram, I just like honestly don't have that many photos of myself, so it's hard to know what to put on there. But I just got a cameo today, so if
All
you
right,
have
there you go.
any interest in that,
So y'all
um,
can get Bridget to do a video on Cameo for somebody else. So if somebody loves
there's that.
Bridget, you can have them, have Bridget wish them a happy birthday or something. You know, that's kind of
Yeah.
fun. Um, all right. Are you going to be a content creator now on TikTok? Is that
I
what
don't
you're
know.
doing?
We'll see. I don't know. I'm just gonna post what I want to post and we'll see what happens.
That works. That does it, right? Okay, that's cool. Is there anything else
Yeah.
that you want to bring up or want to point people to or anything like that?
Not at the moment. I'm getting my art started up again. So if you want custom stuff, I'm gonna
Well,
post
what's your
about.
art?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you
What?
got? What
Oh,
do you
I
do for
like
art? Yeah.
I do so many different things, but ceramics, illustration, I've been painting on shoes. I've kind of a lot of different things, but and designing tattoos. I
I
used to be a
understand.
tattoo artist, but I'm not at a shop right now. But if you want a design or anything, that is an option as well.
There you go. And I know Kyle's a graphic designer, right?
Yeah.
So that's my degree is in.
Oh, cool.
But and then I ended up doing marketing because that's what happens. But and now I'm doing it for myself, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, it's Bridget's chart. Somebody keeps asking me, whose chart is that? Whoever's chart that is, what did you just say? Do you attract controlling and possessive relationships? I don't think so. That doesn't necessarily say that to me in there. Um,
Definitely
but
not.
do you feel like that?
Um, Hi, Megan.
Not that Kyle is, but
I
have you in the
definitely,
past?
in the past, yeah, people who like a sense of control, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't say like overly controlling of me in any kind of abusive way or anything. Just people who enjoy having control and yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I mean, I
attracting.
think they're talking about your Capricorn Venus is my guess. And
Okay.
that's what I was saying. Like if somebody can approach you and have like that boss energy, then you can surrender to them. Otherwise, you might seek out unhealthy control, is what they were probably hinting at.
I see. Okay.
So that
Yeah.
that can totally make sense.
Yeah, I've
I mean,
had past relationships that
yeah.
really weren't
I
that
mean,
healthy.
who hasn't? All right. Um, is Megan in here harassing everybody again?
Yes.
I just heard somebody yell Megan, like they're yelling Megan in there. Megan has a reading coming up. When is it? The 17th or something like that, or something. I forget when Megan's is, but it'll be I'll post it soon. But the next reading that I'm doing a live reading next Wednesday with oh my god, I'm like I'm doing a reading on Wednesday. Yeah, it is Wednesday. Wednesday next week with Mary Lambert, folks. So if you're a Mary Lambert fan, make sure you come in here and check that out. She's a singer songwriter. Was on the Macklemore Ryan C. Lewis song, the LGBTQ anthem, Same Love, and has just come out with a new song that's like it's about getting respect for your body, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
So if y'all are interested in seeing that, I'll be back live for that. I also try to go live once a week and teach astrology, teach you all how to read these round charts. So join me for that. And I do reading, so check it out and see if there's anything on there that you're interested in. But Bridget, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
This was
Yeah.
fun.
So,
I know it's a lot of info,
yeah.
a little overwhelming. So if
Yeah.
you have any questions or anything, just ask me. No
Thank
problem.
you.
Just DM me and
Yeah.
let me know.
Digest it and learn more, I think.
Yeah. All right. It's hard. It's hard to pick it up, but like once you've heard me say it a few times or once you see it, and feel free to go back to look at the things I posted
Yeah, I'll have
about
to.
your chart too. There's some of it explained in there as well. So, yeah. So, because people demand it, like it's literally the instant the show is announced. It's like, when is everybody's chart?
Right.
I'm like, you gotta
Lesbians,
give
they
me a
love their
second and give
astrology.
them a second. Holy cow.
Right.
So, but thank you for being here. Thanks, Kyle. And because I know Kyle's back in there. And yeah, so I'll see y'all soon. I'm sure you'll be popping
Yeah,
up
thank you so
somewhere.
much. Yeah.
And yeah, cheers to everybody. Hey, stay safe out there. Take care of each other. Thank you all for being here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you all. So thank you. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.